and welcome back to another speed build video. My name's Jess and today I'm building in Oasis Springs on a 20 by 30 lot, and today's build is a Spanish style bungalow that is a base game only build. So this was definitely a fun challenge. It's always different to build with base game and try and make a build feel modern with just the limited items that we have in base game, but I think I was able to do it and I'm really happy with how this came out. Even just building in Oasis Springs, I don't build here very often, so it was fun to build in a different style and to try and match it into the world. And yeah, just doing different things in The Sims always keeps it fresh and unique, so building in a different spot was just nice for something a little bit of a change up for me. But here you can see I'm adding in some windows and the build is really starting to take its shape. I went with a more boxy build because I really wanted to use those arch windows because they're some of my favorite in the game regardless of pack. But with the windows, I wanted them to sit in some bump outs in the build. And so I really ended up liking how that came out, but I will say it looks pretty boxy, and I do end up changing the roofing because I initially built it a little bit different and I couldn't put my finger on what was different, but I was like, something doesn't look quite right with this build, but I finally figured out I am missing a roof piece. So you'll see that in the final shots, how the ultimately will look, but I still really like the look of this, but it's definitely improves in the final shots. So you can see I'm working on some landscaping, and with the landscaping I wanted to keep it pretty clean and versatile, so I wanted this to be able to work in a few different worlds wherever you wanted to place it. So originally I built this in New Crust, and in New Crust I wanted to keep it a little bit more basic. And so that's why I didn't end up using too many desert plants, but I still think it really suits Oasis Springs really nicely. And honestly, this lot that I'm building on is so beautiful. Like I said, I never really built in Oasis Springs, so I didn't know how nice this little area was. Because I guess not only do I never build here, I never really play in this neighborhood. So yeah, this is a gorgeous lot and the lighting is immaculate. I love it as a builder who's always looking for lots that have nice lighting. It is gorgeous, and so it was really fun building here. But you can see I'm just getting the layout finished for the backyard and all that landscaping finished up. And now I'm just going to add in a few items to kind of make the backyard feel more like a home. And it was a little bit challenging to find decor pieces to fill in the backyard because I don't have to remind you, but this is a base game build and we don't have a ton of items in base game that really work for outdoor purposes. But I think I was able to fill this up as well as I could, and so it will work for family gameplay. I tried to add in some skill building items with the flower pots, and I also add in a telescope and an easel. So that's always, I think, a nice addition for gameplay purposes. And you can see I'm just adding in a few more lights. I want to make sure that this looks nice at night, so you got to add in a few extra. And here you can see I'm adding in those skill building items. And then of course I wanted there to be this little play area, kind of sandbox. And in the sandbox, of course, adding in those monkey bars. And then I did want to add in a little beach pail and shovel from Debug. And of course adding in a few toys just to make it look like it is a well-used sandbox by this family. So you can see I'm just figuring out the layout here and putting on some wallpaper and flooring. And it did take me a little while to choose the wallpaper and flooring because I tried to use tones that I don't normally gravitate towards and actually use some color in the kids' bedrooms, which is kind of unique for me, definitely a little bit different. So took me a little while, but of course I'm building this the second time, so you don't see all that indecision. But if you are curious to see my indecision, I did actually do part of this build on stream. So you could, if you are curious, you could always watch the VOD. But if you ever want to watch me build live and just kind of see what my process is, I'm SimmeredJess on Twitch. I'm SimmeredJess actually everywhere online. So if you're ever curious of what I'm up to anywhere else, you can check me out. I'm like on every social media site. I've actually been making TikToks pretty often, which has been kind of fun. But anyways, you can see the living room has really come together, and I think it has that nice mix of modern and Spanish style. But here you can see I'm about to add in kind of a customized fireplace. Now, I don't know if these shelves will just catch on fire if you try to light a fire, but it's one of those things where sometimes when I build, it's more form over function. So I want something to look nice versus be super functional. And so you can see I had some trouble placing this shelf. So I will play test it and see, but either way, I'm going to keep it because I think it looks nice. But you can, of course, delete it if you would want to have that fireplace be for sure functional. But I'm just adding in a few pots for a little decor element, and I really like how those look up on the fireplace. I think they're like the perfect little addition. And then adding in some shelves for detail. And moving on to the dining room, which the dining room was so easy to do because we have those additional items we got in an update a while ago from Harry. And they're just so beautiful and definitely look modern and suit this build, I think, really nicely. So yeah, the dining room, really easy to do, no challenges there. In the kitchen, it was actually also really easy to do because of these countertops that we have from, well, I was going to say from base game, but everything's from base game. But these countertops really work for a modern, clean kitchen. And I will say they are kind of bright white for the creamy colors that I was kind of going for in the rest of the build. But I still think it blends in really nicely. But I do think the kitchen ended up being one of the most modern elements of this build. So you can see I'm just adding in an island and a couple more cabinets on that little corner. And I just really love how this kitchen came together. Now, one thing I wanted to mention was we had some very exciting news from The Sims. Well, I mean, a little bit like a teaser of excitement. So we had the new teaser trailer for the next season of The Sims. So to me, my guess is we are getting Generations. That's what it seemed like, in my opinion, but definitely let me know if you have any other theories as to what the trailer could mean. But I'm just really excited to get some more content in The Sims. And if it is Generations, that'll be really nice to probably get a lot of really good family build items that will make it even more fun to build family houses. So I'm excited. I'm honestly excited no matter what. Just getting more items always makes me happy and more options for building. So you can see we're moving on to the parents' room, and in the parents' room, I went for this darker kind of aesthetic, and that's solely because of the swatches we have in the bed. I went for something that I went for the option I liked the most, and it was just darker. So that was kind of the theme of the rest of the room. So adding in a few plants to the corners. And I'm using this curtain again, which I love this curtain for the arch windows because you can still see the arch. And that it's wonderful thing to have the tool mod to be able to size it up exactly how much I need to. But over here, I wanted to do kind of a built-in wardrobe looking area. And I really like how this ended up looking. I think it makes it look a little nicer than what we have in base game. Or like what we have just standard in base game, kind of doing this combination of the cabinets with the hanging clothes. I think looked really nice. So now I'm just adding in some cabinets over here and adding in a nice big mirror, which again, I just think adds a little bit of a modern element. In the bathroom, I wanted it to kind of look like the tub and shower were built in. So of course I'm using the immaculate shelf again to fill in the little gap that was left over. Then I'm just going to add a few items to make it look intentional. But I really wanted to try and fill in the build as much as I could, just to not make it feel so empty. Like oftentimes base games builds can feel pretty empty. So just added in some shelves, adding in some lighting, of course a toilet roll, and a towel. And in the kids' bedroom or bathroom, I went for a black and white kind of aesthetic. And I think it looks really nice, kept it really clean and simple. Perfect. And moving on to the kids' room. So this is the kids' room, which I of course used a bunk bed, so you can have two children share this room if you would like. But I wanted there to be just everything you'd need for gameplay. So I add in a little bit of a desk, some toys, a wardrobe. I tried to have everything that you'll need, and of course I want in every build you gotta try and fit a computer in somewhere because it's really essential to all gameplay. And this was the perfect spot for it. I will say, like, these bedrooms are so much bigger than what I've been used to recently because I've been doing so many tiny home builds. So I struggled to think of things to fill in the space, but it was a fun change up for me. But we're moving on to the toddler's room. So in the toddler's room, I went with this blue and orange kind of combination of colors. Just using the kids' furniture that we have in the game, and I think it really ended up so cute and cozy. I wanted there to be a little reading corner and a little dollhouse area. So hopefully this will be a really good room to use for a toddler. I am realizing now I didn't add in a little toilet, so I'll be sure to do that. But we're actually coming close to the end of the build. So I just want to thank you so much for watching and supporting my little channel here on YouTube. It means so, so much to me. With that, I hope you're having a great day and you have a great rest of your week. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.